own Colin Brown here from getembolden.com. And hey man, I got something for y'all today. It's another edition of Wise Word Wednesdays, where we come in and talk about complicated credit subjects and try to break them down for y'all, man. So let's talk about it. Today we're going to be talking about bankruptcy and credit. All right? Bankruptcy and credit. So first of all, I just want to say I am not a bankruptcy lawyer. So take these views with a grain of salt. This is just a professional opinion of someone that is in the credit industry, but I'm not a bankruptcy lawyer or an attorney. So if you have, if you want to seek professional advice about a bankruptcy per se, you need to seek a bankruptcy lawyer. That I am not. So this is from a credit standpoint. I'm just giving you, the skinny on how bankruptcy affects your credit, and a few things about bankruptcy that I know, of course. So let's just get straight into it. So something that people probably already aware of, but we're going to talk about it briefly, is that bankruptcy definitely hurts your credit. Okay, it'll plummet your credit score. And the reason is because all the accounts, whatever you're putting into your bankruptcy. Hey, how y'all doing, y'all? There we go. Okay. It's not even showing me who's on here. Anyway, whatever you put into bankruptcy, that account is going to go on your credit report. So say if it was a credit card, you owe Capital One, and you put that into your bankruptcy as included in one of the accounts that you put into bankruptcy, it's going to go on your credit as filed, included in bankruptcy. So that's going to hurt, your score and your credit overall. So that's why, and depending on how many accounts you have that you include in your bankruptcy, that's what's going to be included on your report. So that's one of the things that we want to talk about. But one of the main things that my mentor said that made a lot of sense to me is that you never want to file for bankruptcy unless you're trying to save a home. Okay, if you already are in, you have a mortgage and you're trying to save that home from being foreclosed on, then that's when you want to file bankruptcy. But that's not something, that's normally not a solution for most people when it comes to, especially when it comes to credit, because it's not a credit solution. It's something to help you with debt, but it's not something that's going to help you with your credit at all. So these are different things that you want to think about. And again, you want to seek an attorney's advice or perspective on this if that's the route you choose to go. But just from a credit standpoint, it's not a credit solution at all. Okay? So again, the accounts that you put on there is going to be showing on your credit, even if you're not paying the debt down. And also it's going to stay on there for a very long time. So a Chapter 7 bankruptcy stays on your report for 10 years. That's longer than everything else on your report. Everything else, for the most part, is going to fall off after 7 years. Increase 2 years. But a Chapter 7 bankruptcy, it takes 10 years to fall off your credit report. All right? And Chapter 13 can be 7 years because that's an actual repayment plan. So you're paying down on the debts that you include in it. But still, man, that's 7 years. So it could potentially, mess up your score a lot. All right? What's going on, TJ, Melvin, Courtney, Bundy, Get Him Bone? That's what I'm talking about. How y'all doing? Talk to me. Comment if y'all have any questions, man. So let's get back into it. Oh, another thing, once you file bankruptcy, you can't file bankruptcy again for I want to say 8 years. Yeah, 8 years you can't file for bankruptcy again. So that's another factor, man. That's why it's a it's something else. It's something that could put you back. It has pros as far as from a debt perspective, but it really could put you back when it comes to credit. So it's something that you really want to consider and think about before you make that step. And also another thing, student loans cannot be added on bankruptcy, so we can't get out of those. What you think okay, Collins, I can eliminate debts. Let me just file bankruptcy, get rid of student loans. Nope, don't work like that at all. So, which is most student loans, not everyone, but the federal ones, you're not getting out of those. So, let's just talk about how it affects your credit. We'll talk about 3 different ways that is actually going to affect your credit. So we've got a question here. I've been seeing people saying that they get bankruptcy removed from reports. Is actually, yes, 100%. So we're going to talk about that a little later on. But yes, you 100% can remove bankruptcies off of a credit report. Now, when you're doing underwriting for, say, you're getting a home or something like that, they can see that you filed bankruptcy, but from a pure credit standpoint or from your credit reports, yes, they can be removed off of your reports. So that's a great question. And we've done that plenty of times for our clients. So we'll talk about that a little bit later on, but ask any questions, even if we're going to get to it later, it doesn't matter. Ask any questions you guys have, and we'll get into it because that was a great question. So number one, like I said, it can severely hurt your score. I'm talking, 100 points, 150 points, depending on where you at and what all you include in that process. It can hurt your score. That's number one, so that's, again, and the thing about it is it's hurting your score, and there's a lot of times there's other ways to go about it. Say if you're doing it for medical bills. Me personally, knowing what I know, I would not file bankruptcy if I have a lot of medical bills. I would try to get a settlement. I would try to go to that hospital, whatever the case is, and say, hey, I can't afford to pay, the entire invoice, but I can't afford to put, $25 a month, $50 a month. And even though you're only taking small chunks, at least, they're not seizing your wages and things like that, which they're not going to do most of the time with medical bills. But I'm just saying in general, you want to see if you can make a settlement with a creditor before you want to do bankruptcy. And when it comes to credit cards, yes, credit cards can be a hassle if you have a ton of credit card debt. But still, there's other ways of going about it, especially if the card is already charged off. I mean, I'm not telling you not to pay your debt. All right? Colin Brown's not telling you not to pay your debt. All right? Or anyone from Embolden Solutions, LLC. But when you pay off on a charged off account or a collection account, it has either minimal or no effects on your credit score at all. That's another thing. And that's just, we're going to get to a side note really quickly. Do not go get your tax refund back and pay on collection accounts or charge off credit cards. Don't do that. I've gone into that many times, but I'm going to continue to say that because I know people are about to start getting those returns in. Don't do that. It's not going to increase your score. It's not going to drop it off of your report. But back to bankruptcy. So that's the thing. It drops your score, but there's different things you can do, like try to settle with those companies. So that's why it's not worth it to me most of the time. Most of the time. Unless you're trying to save a home, which you can do with a bankruptcy because it halts your foreclosure. Depending on which type of bankruptcy you get, you can get it to, you can work out an agreement to halt your foreclosure, halt a foreclosure on your home. So that's one definite pro. I would rather do that than lose my home if that came down to it. But for you all out there that just has regular medical bills and credit cards, sometimes the debt isn't even that large. Like you filing bankruptcy for like $5,000, $7,000. I would not do that. And remember, this is just my opinion solely. I am not an attorney. I'm not a bankruptcy lawyer. But I'm just telling you from my perspective, I wouldn't do that. And it's horrible from a credit standpoint. So that's number one. Number two reason, and I went over this briefly earlier, bankruptcy stays on your report for a long time. Yes, you can get it removed, but we saying if you don't get it removed, it's going to stay on there for a very, very long time. Like 10 years is a long time if you file Chapter 7 bankruptcy. That's a long time now. Even a 13 to say 7 years, but still, like that's 10 years? Sheesh. Okay, and the last thing I want to talk about, and this is what I've been saving to tell y'all is, even if you don't follow what I said and you like, nah, forget that, I'm still going to file bankruptcy. Okay, that's fine. But just to let you know, if you have a bankruptcy on your report currently, or you end up filing bankruptcy, just know it's not the end of the world as far as your credit. It's not the end of the world. You still can bounce back. So that's a thing that I wanted to tell y'all. You can bounce back from bankruptcy. Let me fill you in on something. Okay. Your number one friend, if you have a bankruptcy already, or you plan on filing it and you don't listen to this advice, which is okay. It's okay. Your number one friend will be a secure credit card. Okay. Now, I'm not guaranteeing that you will get a secure credit card, however, because you may not be able to be approved for one. But I've seen a lot of, clients and people that get approved for secure credit cards and they're able to build credit. And once you do that, you can get a secured loan. You have two items that you're building on every month, and you can eventually go to an unsecured credit card, build that up, and next thing you know, you're able to build credit even if you have a bankruptcy. So it's not the end of the world, and even after your bankruptcy is discharged and it's no longer on your report, it's not the end of the world. You still have things you can do, but it can hinder you in some ways. Like we had a client, bankruptcy removed from their report, but when they went to get a mortgage, they still had to wait a year because it was showing up. They had to wait 2 years before they can be approved for a mortgage again. So it's different things like that. You guys, you have to remember that what's on your report and what you actually owe in the real world, two different things. So sometimes things that we've done can still come up in underwriting. There's nothing that anybody can really do about that. But most of the time, what's on your report, you good. But sometimes things like a bankruptcy can still come back, even if it's not on your report. So that's different things to think about, So let's just go over a quick recap. And I'm going to holler at y'all real quick. What's going on, Roman? Briante? Hey, Jillian? Miss Frazier, what's up? What's up, TJ? LeBar, what's going on? Hey, Ebony, what's up, TJ? Melvin? All right. Yeah, man. So I just want to go over a quick recap. Y'all let me know if y'all have any questions or anything too, all right? So quick recap, number one, it will plummet your score. And the reason being is because, again, it's going to take, so when you go through a process, it's a long process as well. You have to prove that you cannot pay your debt. You have to go to like credit counseling, different things of that nature. So it's not going to be like a quick little, I met with somebody real quick and got it done. It's a little process you have to do. And you have to pay as well. So that's one thing. that you have to consider when you go to a bankruptcy lawyer. Look, hey, I'm not saying that bankruptcy lawyers are wrong or they're malpracticing. I'm not saying any of this before I say that. I'm not saying that. Disclaimer, I'm not saying that. But what I'm saying is you do have to pay, so you have to keep that in mind when you go to a bankruptcy lawyer. This is this will be a payment for them if you proceed. So you have to keep that in mind when you're taking that advice. That's all I'm saying about that. I'm not saying they do anything wrong because I don't know who you're going to. I don't know what they're doing. And I'm not saying on average all of them do wrong. I'm not saying nothing about wrong. All I'm saying is you have to keep that in mind. Anyway, it's a process. So that's something you have to think about when you're making a decision like this. So number one, it will plummet your score. Number two, it stays on your report for a long time, 10 years. Just to put in context, that's 2030 if you did it this year. That sounds very far, doesn't it? I know. And number three, we got a couple comments. Melvin said, good. Hey, appreciate that. Good info. Appreciate that. Just trying to inform the people. Thank you. I appreciate that. Hello, mother. How you doing? Is KJ on? If he is, tell him I love him. So number three is that you can bounce back. If you have a bankruptcy on your credit report and it's discharged and you're ready to build credit, that's a good time to get into a program that we offer. All right. If it's discharged, that happens before that 10 years or that 7 years. That can happen before then. If your bankruptcy is discharged, it's a possibility that we can get it removed if it's not 100% compliant with the FCRA. So we remove items that isn't 100% compliant with the law. So if it's not 100% compliant with the law, we could possibly get it removed if it's erroneous information, and you'll be good to go. You'll be given the tools to build credit. We have a secure card for you. We have some other accounts for you that you can get approved for. And again, the best thing you want to do is start building credit. If you have a bankruptcy already or you plan on getting one, that's going to be the number one thing you want to do, and you want to do it as soon as possible. Because when it comes to building credit, the more time you have, the better. All right? The more time you have, the better. That's why you want to start today if you can. If you have the means to start today, don't wait till tomorrow. All right? No time is better than the present. Don't wait. Start today or this weekend when you can, as soon as possible, because the more time you have when it comes to building credit, the better. Because credit history is 15% of your credit score, all right? 15%. That may not sound like a lot, but I promise you it is. Okay? 15 is really more than that, honestly. Once everything builds up, it's really more than 15%. But that's going to show that you can make payments on time now, okay? Show that you are responsible, you taking action. So you need to be building credit. And if you have those accounts still on your report that, they could possibly get removed, then hey, go ahead and start in the program. Question here, do you do over the phone consultation or office consultations? Mostly we do over the phone consultations, Briante. And the reason is because everything we can do in person, we could do over the phone. So it's so much easier for both parties. You don't have to worry about, going downtown Birmingham and, we just get everything handled over the phone and get you going. So yeah, it's over the phone. Over the phone. But yeah, that's a great question, y'all. Hey, keep the questions coming, even if you're watching it after, because most people watch these after the live. Ask the question, I'll get to it in the comments. But anyway, yeah, man, so just to sum this up, this is a decision you really want to think about heavily before you make it. Go ahead and see the bankruptcy lawyer if you want to, but just know most of the time, in my opinion, it's not a good fit for most people because you don't have that much debt like you think you do. You could settle with the creditors, especially if it's medical collections. You don't want to do that for medical collections, man. Credit cards, even, man, you owe $5,000. Yeah, that sounds like a lot, but that's not something that most people can just fork out willy-nilly. Oh, $5,000. Oh, that's, here you go. I understand that. I'm fully aware of that, but that's still not something that you need to file bankruptcy for, man. I'm just being real with you. Even though this is my opinion, I just said this many times. I don't want nobody trying to sue me, man. So I have to cover, myself. But it's just my opinion. You know what I mean? You can take it or leave it. And Grante says, thank you so much. I'm in Montgomery. Hey, Montgomery, that's what's up. Yeah, that's perfect. You just set up a consultation, or we could talk after this live and get you set up for one. Don't forget student loans. Oh, yeah. So student loans, you have federal student loans. Filing bankruptcy is not going to do anything about it. All right? They're not going to remove them. You're still going to owe them. It's hard to get away from government anything because the government, when they say they want their money, they want their money. And they not taking no for an answer, okay? So when it comes to student loans, man, don't even try to file bankruptcy with them. They gonna get them student loans either way. Now, private student loans, it may be a different story there, but with federal student loans, don't even try, y'all. But that's what I'm saying. There's pros to it. There's the situations where that may be the fit for you, but all I'm saying is most people, in my opinion, it's not the best move for them. So that's just a few things, a few different facts. Also, remember, do your own research as well. You know, pull up some articles. What I would do is, don't do this, though. Don't go on Facebook in the general comments, you know, a general post and ask people about different things like this. Because you putting yourself at risk of someone commenting or you taking a direction of someone that may not be familiar with the subject at hand. And that's what you don't want to ask Facebook about: legal, medical, or credit advice at any time. That's a few things you just don't want to do. You know what I mean? So anyway, anybody else have any questions, anything? I try to throw out a few facts out there, give y'all a little bit to think about. I had this question come up a few times, so I just want to kind of go in on it. Missing anything here? Let's see. I talked about everything I pretty much wanted to cover. So, yeah. Yeah. Sean Black says, my bank clients still rave about this program every time they see me. Well, thank you. We have a lot of people rave about our program, to be honest. You know, we only have, 50 plus 5-star ratings on Google. I mean, that's pretty bomb. It's a lot of businesses I know that don't have that many. But hey, look, I'm not bragging. I'm just saying, just stating the facts. Google and Bolden Solutions LLC. You can see it for yourself. I don't want you to think I'm just saying anything. But anyway, that's pretty much it for Wise Word Wednesdays for this week. If you have any questions or concerns, just write a comment, and let me know. If you have any questions, you have anything that you want to be covered, let me know too, and I'll go ahead and jump on that thing, man. So that is pretty much it. Unless y'all have any more questions or comments. Until the next time, it's been Wise Word Wednesdays. Peace.